Just setting up the live stream, won't be long. I think I've mentioned on previous videos, I often stream the live stream alongside me onto a Chromebook, which makes things a bit easier. Okay, so you can hear me hopefully. I'm just adjusting volume levels here so I can hear myself, which is always good. Okay, I think we're ready to get going, so let's go and have a little look at the flight plan. I've sketched out a flight plan in LittleNavMap, a bit of a circuitous route to leave Stansted, fly along the coast of the UK and then out over to Jersey, and we'll fly over the VOR at Jersey and then do one of the RNAV approaches, which should be good fun. So I guess we could borrow this and go and put it into Navigraph as well. So if we copy this, open Navigraph, and paste it in as a new flight plan. We could also go and throw it into Simbrief as well, so we've got that to play with in the airplane along the way. There's no reason why not to. So done on that. So that will give us the... We need to go runway 04 for the wind, and the runway at Jersey was runway 26. Add to route again for the wind, and the approach we are going to do is, now I did say, didn't I, it's RNAV into runway 26 using the ticks on transition. So we're essentially going to fly over the top of Jersey and then loop back round and come back in. So it should be fairly straightforward. Okay, let's go and throw that into Simbrief as well while we're here. Go to the dispatch system and create a new flight. VFA 001. Depart from EGSS, and we are going to EGJJ for Jersey. Aircraft type is CRJ. I can never remember the codes for them. Here we go, CRJ 550. We're not going to do the published route, we're going to do our own, so we'll throw this in, and remember we're taking off from runway 04, landing runway 26, yep, so Navigraph has chosen the same. That's a valid route, so generate flight. Okay. So let's go and jump inside the CRJ. It's a while since I've flown this, so it's going to be a bit alien to me looking around the cockpit, so mistakes probably will be made. So let's go and look at the tablet. We click on the tablet, wait for it to boot up, and we go to the aircraft section and we connect the ground power to the aircraft. Does this have Simbrief in it? I can't remember if it does or not. It's got checklists, it's got a performance calculator, it's got maintenance. No, it doesn't. Okay, that's fine. So we've got the ground power on. So we go overhead and put the battery master switch to on, DC service to on, then put the nav lights on and arm the emergency lights. So then we go to the pedestal and we go and rotate the INS system, or IRS, and this inertial reference system, to nav on both sides. Then overhead we're going to go and open the hatch for the APU and then start the APU. So we go and have a look outside, make sure that's actually happening. So yeah, you can see the hatches opening up, and you can see warm air starting to pour out of the back. Okay, so back inside, if we come down to the pedestal here and press the elect button, which is over here. Oh, we haven't got any power yet. Oh yes, we have, sorry. So we're waiting for the APU gen to light up, so it takes a few moments usually. So while we're busy waiting for that, actually no, we will wait. Let's do things in order and not go off script. So we're just waiting for the auxiliary power units to start providing power to the airplane, then we can remove the ground power. There we go. Everything magically boots up all of a sudden. So we can remove the ground power again now. So, no smoking sign goes to auto. I have to try and remember where all the switches are now. So that's over here, and the seatbelt sign goes to auto. Windshield heating, left and right can go to low. And then from the pilot seat position, we're going to go to the flight management computer down here and program our route in while we're sat here. So, position initialization. We can go next page, pick up the GPS position, go previous page, and drop it into set position. We're at Stansted, which is Echo Golf Sierra Sierra. And then we should be able to, let's just have a go next page in here, see what's in here. So that's just got the GPSs, yeah, that's fine. So let's go do the flight plan. So Echo Golf Sierra Sierra to Echo Golf Juliet Juliet. Now if we select 2 in here, oh actually this is a bit odd. That I don't think this quite works as it should. So what we're going to do is put in the waypoints, the interstitial waypoints and the route. So we're going to go and put the one at the end of the standard instrument departure in first. So we should be able to put DET in here, but this is from memory, that it won't put it in here. It will take us to the next page. Well, it kind of hasn't done it, which is really odd. So we'll come back to that in a moment. So if we go next page here, you can see there's the route, and there's nothing in it. So if we put Detling in again, it will do it now. So I think there's a bit of a bug there, and there always has been. I seem to remember that. So then we want to go to Seaford, Sam, and Berryhead. So SFD, SFD, then Sam, and BHD. And then we want to do the first waypoint of the standard terminal arrival route, so Skerry. Okay, so we're not using airways, we're just going to fly direct. It's fine, so press execute on that. And then we can go and do departure. So we could say we're taking off runway 04 from Stansted, and we're doing the Det 2D, is it? Yeah, Det 2D. Standard instrument departure. So you can see it's all appearing over here on the map. And then we can execute that and go back to the index for departure and arrivals, go back into here and say we're going to go and do the... Now let's get the right one. It's the RNAV for runway 26 using the Tixon transition. RNAV for runway 26 using Tixon, and the star is the SCR1J star. So next page, SCR1J. There we go, we've got all of it selected, so execute that. Then we'll go and look at the legs page and just go and have a check through, make sure there's no gaps anywhere. It all looks good. Good. Okay, so we'll go and do the... now I'm trying to remember where the various pages are in this thing now. So performance, performance initialization. So cruise altitude. What can we get away with a... Actually, we've got a Simbrief flight plan for the CRJ, haven't we? So 28,000 feet. So as far as I remember, you can't type flight levels into this either. You have to type them in thousands, and then bizarrely it... that was rather clever of me. I've gone and typed too many characters, and now I can't select clear. There we go. Yeah, as far as I remember, it will understand it once you've typed it, but you can't type them in, which is a bit odd. So fuel, we have got 4460, so just out of interest, how much is that? Is that like... Is it giving us 50%? That should be fine. 4460. It's only a really short route. We can leave all the others, they're all optional, and this isn't a high fidelity aircraft, so it's not going to make a huge amount of difference to it. Okay, let's get rid of these caution lights. So obviously you can see lots of things haven't lit up yet because we haven't configured the airplane fully yet. Right, let's go and get the throttles out of... Okay, my throttles aren't working. Let's go and unplug my throttle quadrant and plug it back in again. Do we have throttles now? Let's open them up, drag them out of idle, and now we have throttles. Okay, and we also have reversers, so I'm just going to configure my... Perfect. So, David990 is saying, is the CRJ worth it? I've hummed and hawed over it. Well, I've got all of them. I actually enjoy flying it. Well, you'll see, because I'm going to obviously do the flight, and we can talk about it along the way, about how well it works or doesn't work. So the throttles are configured. So we go back overhead, and we put the beacon light on. We're going to get ready to push back and start. So we can do pushback now, actually. So let's just turn the beacon light off for a moment. And press Shift and P, and we have to go and remove the chocks before the tractor connects, otherwise we're not going to go anywhere in a hurry at all. So, aircraft, where's the chocks button? There we go, removed. So let's just check, looking down in the aeroplane, does the parking brake work? No, it doesn't. I seem to remember that from previously. Do the toe brakes work? Yes, they do. So the parking brake doesn't animate, but it does kind of work. The control works, if that makes sense, on your controller, but it doesn't synchronize with the animation. There's a bit of a bug there. Okay, so we'll wait for the pushback before doing much else. Okay, that's probably far enough. So take this pushback off, parking brake back on. Okay, so beacon light on. I'm just reading my instructions now to remember how to do this. So I'm going to turn the head tracking back off for the moment. So Control 2. And we want the left boost pump on. So where's the fuel section? Up here. The right boost pump on. So left and right can both be put on start at the same time as each other. And then down here we can start watching the engines pick up. It's a fully automatic ignition system. So we'll hear a sound, a chime, when the engines have started. As soon as the engines have started, we can go and switch off the APU, obviously. Should we go and have a listen from outside? You can see heat pouring out of them now. So you can see as the engines come up, various bits and pieces around the aircraft power themselves up. There we go, there's the sounds we were talking about. Okay, so back overhead, now the engines are running, we can go and turn the APU off. So switch goes off, the door is closed. The hydraulics can all go to auto or down, so I'll roll the mouse downwards on. Okay, let's just check these. So air conditioning, packs, and recirculation on. And do we need to put warming on the hold? I don't know if we do. So then on the pedestal, yaw dampers 1 and 2 go to on. So let's go and look down here, see if we can find everything. It's so long since I've done this. So there's yaw dampers 1 and 2. You just have to click them, they don't light up. And CH1 and 2, you have to press both, and then the Mac trim can come on. So we're almost ready to taxi, so let's have a look. And so all of the warnings have gone from the display, which is good. So recognition lights can go to on for taxiing. And let's see if we can change this screen and put something a bit more meaningful up here instead of electricity. So if we say, can we just say primary? What will that do? It's just the primary engine instruments, isn't it? What does stats do? Let's have a little nosy around. Okay, that's the... So ECS is engine control systems. We've got hydraulics, electrics, fuel. I guess fuel might be a good one to put up there so we can see what's happening with the fuel system. Okay, we've got taxi lights on, so let's go and taxi out to the runway. I'll turn the head tracking on now and center it up. So yeah, the thing that's quite interesting about this aeroplane is it does have a head-up display. I don't actually like using it, but it works perfectly well. It's very good. So should we have a little look at the aeroplane as we're taxiing out? So we need to go down to runway 4, don't we, for the wind? So we've got a bit of a taxi ahead of us. So we're going to see other aircraft coming in, potentially, while we're taxiing. Which is quite cool. Makes a bit of a change. I may wind the time back, otherwise it's going to be dark by the time we get to Jersey. So should we do something about that now, rather than later? So rather than doing an evening flight, let's do a morning flight. So I don't mind flying in the dark at all. It's just that for anybody, the whole point of this is to have a look at Jersey when we get there. And if we get there in the dark, it's not going to be much fun, is it? You're not actually going to see much of it. So this is the updated Stansted, by the way, that was updated as part of the more recent UK update. I think it might be the Inibuilds version minus the figures. I could be wrong about that. But it seems to be very, very similar. but just without the figures. So whether there was a licensing issue with the figures, I don't know. There's an awful lot of stuff on the ground there isn't there, that's included in the scenery. It's very good. So here comes that plane that was just coming in. Let's see how well they do. Of course, it could be an AI plane. It looks like it might be because it didn't flare. Yeah, it's probably an AI aircraft. Oh well. Usually I fly without the AI aircraft. I just thought it might be fun today to do something a little bit different for a change. So it looks like is that Boeing that's just come in? I think it might be, yeah. 737 by the look of it. Okay, so we need to put takeoff flaps in. And then we'll go for the next entrance point onto the runway. We're not quite there yet. There's two taxiways alongside each other at Stansted. Yeah, somebody was just waiting, look, to come out onto the runway, so we're going to see a takeoff as well. Awesome. We look from... Yeah, that's an AI aeroplane. You can tell from the attitude. They don't follow physics very well, do they? Hey, this is our turn. So just before we go onto the runway, I'm going to go and refamiliarise myself with the autopilot modes. So can we pre-arm nav mode? Yes, we can. Although that's saying roll and pitch. Interesting. But it's saying FMS1, okay. So flight directors, okay, they were already on. I really can't remember much about this at all. So it's going to go for 10,000 feet. Let's go and take it straight up to... I'm going to turn head tracking off to do this. We've got 28,000 feet now targeted. And so we've got speed mode, which is obviously just speed for climb control. We've got vertical speed mode. Back course. Interesting. So I guess speed mode would be the best way to climb then, wouldn't it? So we're going to set a speed on the, or target airspeed. So if we say 220, so it will target that and in the climb, and then we just use power to monitor that. Okay. So we don't have the wonders of flight level change or anything like that available to us, which is annoying. It's funny, isn't it, how lazy you can become in the more modern jet airliners. But I like to go back to the older planes now and again. Or the ones that don't have every toy going. Config spoilers.
Config flaps.
There we go. There was a controlled configuration issue there. Okay, gear is the gear lever working? No, it's not. So I've engaged autopilot, we'll see what happens. So range is over here for the navigation display. So we should get a right turn anytime soon. Ah, nav mode is disabled, okay. So now we'll get the right turn. So speed mode is in operation, so it should be targeting getting to 220 knots, and then it should use pitch, given the throttle setting I've given it. So we're running at 100% at the moment, although it's only giving it 92%. So you don't have to worry too much about overstressing the engines, you just push them to the stops. It doesn't have a thrust modulation system, so, well, not that I'm aware of. Yeah, we've gone a bit wide on that corner, but oh well. Oh, we didn't put the landing lights on, did we? Below 10,000 feet, we really should have the landing lights on. Did we put... has it got strobes? Yes, it has. We should have had those on. Okay. At least we're configured now. This is such a long time since I've been in this. It's quite funny, really. So yeah, I didn't do my lined up checklist at all, which is why this is all happening. So that light can go off. And we're lining up onto the route, so we should see it level back up anytime soon. Is it going to, or is it going to get it horrendously wrong? It's reacting very badly. I've forgotten this. It fishtails, doesn't it? It won't anticipate the route. It's not the best autopilot in the world, but it's still, you know, it's working. And look, it's hit the speed mark, which is good. So we could then go for 250 knots. So it should drop the nose to do that. So you'll notice as well it hasn't got VNAV, and obviously I'm not controlling the altitude correctly through here. We should be, although it does say just above 3,500 feet, but we shouldn't be going above 5,000. We're already at 12. So yeah, we're completely ignoring the standard instrument departure constraints. But that's not really the point of tonight. We're not doing this as an examination flight, we're just having a bit of fun and flying over the Jersey to see how it works. So we said we were already through. Yeah, this thing climbs so quickly. Let's have a look from outside. There's Stansted behind us now. I think I'm on the Southeast Asia server. Someone's asking in the live stream. So it doesn't have anything clever like charts or anything in the EFB, it's just got some basics. But this was a very early release for Flight Simulator and it hasn't been updated since. I mean, obviously they've fixed bugs in it, but it hasn't got some of the features we've become accustomed to, like Navigraph or... Oh, we need to do barometric pressure. I'm being told off by the system for not having done that. We have to find the button for it first. It's over here, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to merrily climb up to 28,000 feet and get on our way. So let's go and have a look on the map, see how we're doing. We're on our way out towards the Detling VOR. And then if we zoom out a bit on this, so the controls for the navigation display, can we get rid of this out of the way? Yes, we can. We want the range to increase a bit now. This is fascinating, isn't it? You can switch around all the different screens. Change the format of this screen. We can show terrain. Not that there's any terrain to be seen around here, but... And we can put in... Interesting. Maybe that doesn't work. If we were going to fly this in live time, let's try it. So if we go and switch the time to live, so it's going to be getting darker. See, we didn't have to arm the nose wheel steering either during taxi, which is a bit odd. So we were still able to steer. So a lot of these switches in this aircraft are kind of there for effect. So floods. Displays are already fairly bright. Can have the floor light as well if we want. And we get the same on the other side. So we get the integrated lights, the floodlights and the floor lights. Do we get a dome light overhead as well somewhere? Hopefully we do. So we'll see how well that works a little bit later on. Presumably that's the backlighting of the labels. So we're within 1,000 feet of our target. You can see it's telling us there we're nearly capturing the altitude. Let's pull up the legs page, see what it's got to say. So it gives us basic data basically. So we can go faster if we want. Obviously, notice now we are not climbing. The speed constraint is forgotten. It's an easy mistake to make in this aeroplane. So you end up not monitoring the thrust and you end up overspeeding. So in a couple of minutes time we'll go racing up towards 320 knots and we would overspeed. So I'm going to pull the throttles back. So you can see it's got a FADEC throttle system. So I was in max power during climb and it was quite happy doing that continually. And if I pull it back now to climb, it will still accelerate, and then if we pull it back gently and keep an eye on the percentages here, so it's a bit like an Airbus in some regards. So you can see the rate of change on the indicated airspeed. So you can play around with the N1 percentages up on the engine gauges and see how much that's affecting you. some of it's coming back to me now. How to fly this aeroplane. So we're going in towards... Oh, we seem to have missed out the Detling VOR. That's interesting. Maybe there's a discrepancy. I didn't do a gross check of the flight plan, did I? So maybe that would have showed that up. But we didn't do it. So here we are. So maybe it may be that this aircraft has its own database, which isn't maybe exactly the same as Navigraph and LittleNavMap and the simulator. So it'll be interesting to see what it says when we get to Jersey. So I mentioned earlier that this has a head-up display. If you go and click on it, I've forgotten where the click point is for it. Is it the lever down the side of it? Oh, you just have to click on the glass. Okay. So if we do this with head tracking, it becomes easier. It's collimated, so yeah, it's in line with the centre line of the fuselage. So, you know, where you sit in the cockpit makes no difference to it. So you get good information about the direction you're actually travelling. There's a wind indicator there, that gives you an idea of why. There's the W is the centre point. Does that make sense? And then the circle is the actual direction of travel or velocity vector. So because we've got this 23 knot crosswind, you can see we're pointing slightly askew of our direction of travel. But obviously the autopilot makes up for that. You've got the navigation mode there, so it's using the FMS, which means GPS basically. We can switch the mode, which we will do on approach. We change the nav source, in which case we'll need to make sure the ILS is programmed in. So to do that, when we come down here, you can see there's a radio page. And it should be programmed because we programmed the destination in. So if we just go and have a look at Jersey, actually let's do this in Navigraph because it's a bit prettier for doing this sort of thing. So if we pull up Jersey and open the airport, and actually have we got the charts here already? So yeah, this is an interesting one, because although we are doing the RNAV, what we could do is go and borrow the chart to put the ILS beam in, because there is one. So we can borrow it even though we're not doing that approach. So if we go and pull up the charts for Jersey, we want the approach charts and we want the ILS for runway 26, isn't it? Oh, maybe there is. Oh, yeah, there is VOR ILS. There we go. So if we pin that one as well and open this up, then we get the frequency. So 110.3, 263 degrees. So what we could do is put 110.3 into nav 1. I don't think we do the course here though. The course is back up here, but the course doesn't do anything when you're in GPS mode. It's only when you switch nav source that the course comes into play, and then you can obviously change it to the runway direction. So we've got a bit of a wait now until we get to top of descent, which won't be until quite a long way on, until we get to Skerry basically, and then we'll look at descending. So how long is that leg, by the way? So when we come out of Skerry, yeah, we've got 60 miles, look, out of Skerry to begin descending. It's plenty of time. Okay, So there we go. It's very pretty, isn't it? So we're going to see the sunset during the flight. So do we get any timings on this head-up display about the next waypoint? You get a countdown, okay, to the next. I'm guessing yes. We're leaving Seaford, we're on the way to Sam. So what is Sam short for? Southampton. Okay. So we've left the Seaford waypoint, we're on our way to Southampton, and on the bottom corner of the head-up display it tells you the next waypoint. Whoops. Or it does if you don't go and put the head-up display away. It tells you the next waypoint and the distance to it. It's a shame it doesn't give you ETE or estimated time en route. That would be really cool. Does this do anything other than this? So if we go to index, what else can we do? It's a status page there. That's just a database status. What do we, oh, we can do radials. So how is this going to work then? So say we put in Sam as a fix. I've no idea if any of this is going to work, by the way. So, distance. So if we put a distance in, we should get a circle around Sam. So say we say 10 miles. It works. Oh my word, I didn't know you could do this in the CRJ. And we could also do a radial. Oh, it's calculating the point at which we'll cross it. That's quite clever. So do we recommend getting the CRJ? Someone has asked in the live stream comments. As long as you're not too strung up on it being perfect, it's good fun. And there's lots of different versions of it as well, and you can get a deal to buy several versions for the same, for a lower price. I'm in the smallest one at the moment, the 550. There's a much longer stretch version called the 1000, and all the ones in between. I think it's 550, 750, 900 and 1000 maybe. But yeah, as long as you're not expecting a study level aeroplane, you'll have all sorts of fun with it. Oh no, Sim has frozen on us. Let's see how long it takes to unfreeze. I'm surprised that this has the fixes working. I didn't know it did that. So can we clear them just by doing clear fix? Apparently not. That's interesting then. So how do you get rid of a fix? Or maybe it's the delete key instead. No. So it sort of works. I spoke too soon, didn't I? Anyway. It's just nice that you can do it at all. So obviously the reason for doing that is, or the reason you might draw a circle around it, is if we go to the Jersey VOR, which is this one. So if we went to fixes and put in JSY, if I can remember the alphabet, and we put this in up here, and then we put in the distance to draw a circle at Jersey. So we'll say 100 nautical miles, please. And there it is, look, you can see it alongside our flight plan. If we go and zoom out a bit, that's where we're flying to. So on the way in, we know where we are in relation to it, but it makes no sense for this flight, obviously. But So Brickbrack says, I'm not very good and a beginner, so I guess it suits my needs. That's debatable. You'll have fun with it. And I guess there's that whole thing about if you don't know it's wrong, you don't really care. I think my argument might always be if you get in an aeroplane that's got endless system depth and it actually makes sense when you do things, and that doesn't punish you too much, then you get more out of that. So I would say I would lean naturally more towards, say, the PMDG 737s, or even the fly-by-wire A320 is very, very good because it is almost fully featured to the to the real aircraft, and because of that, anything you do will make sense, and you'll be able to back it up with reading in the book, and you might read that a particular function is available or a particular switch might do something, and if it's realistic then it will. Whereas you get something like this where half the switches, it becomes apparent pretty quickly they're not actually doing anything. So there's like nose wheel steering over here. I didn't arm it on the ground, I forgot, and I still had nose wheel steering. So yeah, there's a whole debate there about should a beginner get a more accurate study level aeroplane, in which case what you learn is true and things will, or the different systems will interoperate correctly, so nothing's a mystery or luck. Or do you go for a dumbed down aeroplane like this where you can fly it along and you can learn the procedures that work in it, but there's going to be bits and pieces where you'll forget to do something and it will make no difference. So therefore you might continually carry on doing something wrong without ever knowing. It's a difficult one, because there's the whole point of, do you really care if you've done it a little bit wrong and the plane hasn't bitten you for it? So the question for those that can't see the live stream chat, the 737 scares me a bit compared to the A320. I've been told it's a bit more difficult. It's not more difficult. The workload or the workflow is different. Most of your work in the A320 is done on the ground with preparing the flight management system, and then the plane can do a lot in terms of flying the route for you. The 737 hasn't got as much automation in the configuration of the aircraft or setting it up for flight on the ground. So there's more switches to flick and more to do. But some people like that. They might like having more to do so it isn't so boring. Whereas the A320, there's so much automated, it's kind of interesting. I guess the obvious thing to point out that's a good example of that is bus transfer. So when you fire up the APU, the auxiliary power unit, in the A320, it automatically realizes once it is generating electricity and power is transferred there in the aeroplane, and you can pull the ground power, for example. And everything, all the relays switch over automatically. And by the same token, once the engines are running in the A320, you can turn off the APU, and power will have automatically transferred to being generated by the engines. In the 737, you have to bus transfer to the APU and then to the engines. So they're actually, physical switches which tell the aeroplane this is where you're getting your electricity from now. And for the price, the 737-600 is absolutely amazing, because you're essentially getting everything that's in the other 737s. You're just missing a few of the icing on the cake bits and pieces, like either a freight version or an executive version or anything like that. You're just getting a basic passenger 737-600, but it undercuts the price of anything near it in terms of functionality. And like I said, the huge benefit of those PMDG planes is everything that does works as it should. So you can piece together in your head how the systems interact with each other. So it's not just I flicked this switch and nothing seems to have happened. The same is true of the Phoenix Airbus. So the Phoenix Airbus, again, the only people who are really going to notice the difference between the free fly-by-wire Airbus and the Phoenix Airbus are professional pilots, or people who have amassed, you know, a huge amount of experience in and knowledge, and spent hundreds of hours learning every detail of the avionics systems of the Airbus. Because the fly-by-wire is so close to the Phoenix one. The Phoenix one is at the point of being, you know, what's the word they use where the airline will certify? The Phoenix one isn't far off being kind of certification level, where the airline says, yes, what you've got there works exactly like the real thing. There's been a few of them that have been certified over the years for different simulators. I remember the tallest one was in X-Plane. The Flight Sim Labs, was it? I can't remember the name of the different companies, but there's been a few different aeroplanes over the years that have been certified by the manufacturers to be accurate. Okay, so we're out over the sea now, on our way to Jersey. Should we get rid of the head-up display out of the way? It's a bit of a pain, isn't it? Oh no, we're not quite over the sea yet, we're just turning. So Berry Head will be below us, I imagine. Yeah, we're just coming up to it. Then we turn out towards Jersey. So here's Berry Head, right in front of us. If you look down here, yeah, you can see BHD, then Skerry. Can we do anything about tidying up this screen? I'm not sure that we can. Unless there's some buttons hidden down here somewhere that control what we see. Has this got TCAS as a physical switch anywhere? That's something else I didn't look for. There's a weather radar. That's the same both sides. What if it's hidden? I think it might be hidden in here, you know. So, or sorry, it'd be on this screen, wouldn't it? So if we go to radio, ETC, it's page 1 of 2. So if we go next page, no, that hasn't got TCAS. I'm just wondering if, I can't remember if it had TCAS or not. So it's got, yeah, it's got traffic, but it doesn't seem to light anything up when you do it, which is a bit odd. I probably did know this once upon a time, but it was several years ago and tens of aeroplanes ago. Let's reduce the range on the navigation display anyway. So Berry Head is showing us top of descent. So do we have any restrictions on the way in? Only above 2000 at ticks on, so there's no actual restriction. I can't quite believe that. Let's have a look at the approach chart on Navigraph. So yeah, it hasn't got altitude restrictions. And any notes on it at all? No. Okay, so what's the transition altitude? We could at least use that, can't we? That's going to be on the approach. So we're going to do this approach where we fly over the top of the VOR. And double back on ourselves. So doing this, yeah, it's only marking it for the immediate approach into the runway, so we can do what we like in the airspace above, but we've got a transition altitude of 5,000 anyway. Okay, so it's going to be normal restrictions then, or constraints of 250 knots below 10,000 feet, and then 5,000 for transition. Have I flown the CRJ in VR? No, I haven't, because I haven't got a VR headset. But I have got head tracking, as you can see, which I turn on sometimes for nosying around. And it does look quite cool. Should we go and have a wander around the aeroplane while we're on this leg? Can we open the door is the next question. Oh, is there a lock for it? Don't remember there being a lock. Maybe it just doesn't animate. Can we go through the door? No, it's trimming us. So what about if we go to the drone camera? So it does have an interior. Let me just turn the drone camera speed down. The reason you're seeing this is we are in a bank at the moment at Berry Head. Whoa. Okay, let's put ourselves back inside. So there's another aeroplane down there. I wonder who that is. Should we have a look? So if I go to show labels, got an ATR down there at 17,000 feet. There's a TBM out in the distance, 31. Easy 2005 is crossing our path at 35,000 feet. You can see his contrail up there. So something else we could switch on while we're flying, which might be quite entertaining, is the injector for FSLTL. So if we start it, it's taking a while, isn't it? Here it goes. It started generating aircraft. So what it's doing is inventing aeroplanes and putting them into the skies around us. Because we can see the lights, we should be able to look around ourselves now. And you'll start to see them. There's a couple out there. Okay, we need to start thinking about descending now, because we're about to come through Skerry, as we talked about earlier. So we're going to go and set our target altitude down to 10,000 feet to begin with, because that's when we'll need to decelerate. If I can get the altitude to go to 10,000, there we go, 10,000 feet set. So then we'll set the speed and pull the throttle back. So the aeroplane is still following the track, but it's now descending, because I've pulled the throttles back to idle. So it's maintaining 300 knots by using pitch. So it's descending. If we wanted to descend much more steeply, we're all coming down at 5,000 feet a minute. Ah, there is TCAS. So how do we turn it on? Unless that was the button for it there. No, there's some hidden button somewhere for switching TCAS on and off. I'm sure it's hidden in the flight management computer somewhere. So while we're descending, let's go and have a nosy around for it. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be in radio. So you've got nav1, radio. Is it in here? Oh, there it is. Oh, that's the transport. There it is, sorry. So we can put this on. Interesting. TA only, traffic on, norm. It's still saying TCAS off. It's just got a master on-off switch or something. Auto ABS. Still says it. Oh, I don't know. So TCAS is a physical switch as well then in the pedestal somewhere. Let's go and have a look for it. It's just going to annoy me because it's so long since I've flown this and I've forgotten so much about it. So we've got the weather radar on both sides. We've got the ECAM screens. Is it up this end? It might be a bug, you know. So we've got spoilers, we've got thrust reversers, which remember, oh, we need to arm those, don't we? Ready for landing. Yep, that was it. It was this. You had to choose between system 1 or 2. Yep, great shout there from the live stream chat. You've solved that one. We're down to 13,000 feet and obviously it's telling us, actually there shouldn't be flashing yet. Because we're nowhere near transition altitude yet. So that's a bug. Aha, so Oz says there is a way of bringing the flight plan in. Okay. When you're in the flight plan page. Oh, is it looking at a folder on the computer somewhere? So you'd put in the file name So if I select that, is it going to... Yeah. So I think you have to put in a file name, don't you, then? It's that there's a lot of aeroplanes that have that kind of tricky way of doing it. And you can use the Simbrief downloader then to populate it. That would make sense. So we're down to 10,000 feet. So landing lights come on. Tell you what, we'll do this sunset landing. And then we'll turn the brightness back up. So we're going to go and drop down to 5,000 feet now. And we'll set the target airspeed. For 250. Now we're below 10,000 feet. Do we have to reset the altitude? Or do we have to reset speed mode? Yeah, we have to reset speed mode. There we go. So we can set the speed for 250. We don't have to be going this slow. And if we want to regulate descent rate, we can just increase the thrust. Because we're not in a hurry to descend. There we go. So as long as we get to our target altitude by the time we get to the VOR over Jersey, that'll be plenty of time to do the lap around and slow down. And you'll see there are some restrictions in place, so we need to drop down to 210 knots when we get to Tixon as well. Should we go and do that barometric pressure just to shut up the system? So Jersey, and we look down here. The barometric pressure is 1014 hectopascals, and we're in inches. That's Sod's law, isn't it? It gives us both in Navigraph, doesn't it? If I open the right window. Jersey. Except this isn't going to show us Jersey because it's going to be really sensible about doing that. Okay, so open airport, go to the weather, and it gives us 2994. So we're almost correct anyway. So Barrow 2994. I think it was just flashing because it was on 2992, which doesn't bode well if it actually is that. Okay, so landing lights are on. Oh, I see. So in the performance data in here, you can go and set the transition altitude, and that will influence it bleating at you. That makes sense. Let's see where it might be. Is it in VNav setup or in perf? Let's have a look. There it is. Yeah, you're right. So that should say 5,000. And now it will start flashing at me probably because we're not at 5,000 yet. Oh no, it's not flashing at me. That's interesting. So here's Jersey. So we're going to fly over the top of VOR. The airfield's down this end. So it'll be interesting to have a look at it as we go by. See, this is what I love about doing live streams, as the knowledge you can glean from the crowd is fantastic sometimes, especially with airplanes that you don't know so well. Or that, you know, airplanes are maybe where not everything works right, but people will know the hacks to work around the things that aren't there maybe. I think it's absolutely brilliant. So yeah. should be a lesson to everybody to never ever criticise the community, because together we know far more than any one of us. There's the new airfield. So I got this from Inibuilds a couple of days ago. It's the first chance I've had to go and have a look at it. I'll turn the lights back up. It'd be quite nice to do a night landing for a change, wouldn't it? I'll turn the lights back, or sorry, I'll turn put the sun higher in the sky once we've landed, and we'll have a good look around the airfield with the drone camera. So we need to reduce the range on the navigation display because it's not much use to us at the moment. So we can actually see where we're going. So that target airspeed needs to come down now to 220 at least. So let's bring it down to 200 and come below what we actually wanted. So we should have our landing lights on. We have. I need to go inside because, yeah, we're going to underspeed because this doesn't have an automatic throttle, so I do need to keep on top of it. So it's just saying above 2,000 feet on the way in, and then we get the 210 knot speed warning or speed advisory, or maximum. So we'll drop down to 3,000 now, shall we? So if we say target altitude 3,000 and go speed mode. And we'll change the nav source once we make the final turn. We'll change the nav source over to the ILS. So let's just go and double check that on the way in, make sure we haven't messed that up on the way. So 110.3, when we change the nav source, we'll be able to set the course of course. Ha ha ha. So we could get the heading bug ready as well for the runway direction, which will be 263 degrees on approach. So let's go and change the heading to 263. Because when we come out of that turn, we probably want to go heading hold while we're playing with the course. That's interesting. The speed moved itself down to 180. So let's change that altitude target down now to 2,500 feet. Because if you look on the map, where we're going, let's look on this one. This will mean, so the altitude of the runway is 270, so you want about 2,800 feet on the way into the ILS to account for that, for a 3-degree glide slope. It is a 3-degree glide slope, isn't it? Oh, of course we can't see it on this chart. Let's have a look on this one. It's a, does it say 3-degree anywhere? Nope. Anyway, we need to look at what we're doing. It's quite amusing, isn't it? Because it won't predict the turns, because it's not that clever.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to land. Please notice the cabin lights have been turned off, as this is a normal procedure for a nighttime landing.
It's easy to forget how pretty this is, isn't it? There's the dome lights. Can they not go any brighter than that? Okay, so let's change the nav source. Localizer 1. Okay, that's good. So let's turn off the autopilot. Go a bit faster. So what we're looking at here is just to get the localizer lined up. Remember, you can change the format of the navigation display. So there we go. So now you're seeing the glide slope and the localizer. Coming in towards it slowly. So we're on manual. Full flaps. So we're a little bit off to the left. But we can correct that. It got dark quick, didn't it? So now we've got this sorted out, we can use head tracking and have a look around at the island as we come in. At least you're getting to see what the new airfield looks like with the night lighting, although we're going a bit low. Let's just lift it back up. Just about see the PAPI lights. They're not quite resolved yet in the resolution of the screen. So yeah, I've seen the comment there about the auto brakes. I don't tend to use them in the sim unless I absolutely have to. I'd be more interested to see how the brakes react to me doing it. So things are loading in on the ground because the sim is stuttering. I can't wait for 2024 and that stuttering to go away. Hopefully multi-threading will solve that. So the PAPIs are agreeing with the glide slope, which is always good. Let's get rid of some speed. We got a bit fast, yeah, and that's made us climb.
Sync rate 500.
400. 300. 200. 100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Let's try the reverses out. And wheel brakes. It's pretty quick at stopping, isn't it? Okay, so we had our fun with the night landing. Let's go and wind the clock back so we can actually see the airfield. So we can put the flaps up. The landing lights can come off now, along with the strobe.
Please remain seated until the aircraft has come to a complete stop.
So anybody that knows Jersey at this point, and I will admit I don't, will be able to comment on the new version of the airfield. So if we go around the backside, park down in amongst the EasyJet and British Airways planes over here. So we don't need the spoilers out anymore. Looks pretty good, doesn't it? So I have got the Xbox controller plugged in, so we can use the drone camera and go for a nose around. Okay, so in the tablet we should be able to say put some chocks in place, give us a ground cart, and I think bus transfer is automatic in this version of the aeroplane. Oops. Yeah, so we should just be able to cut the engines off. Oh, that's interesting. So you have to pull them back physically with the mouse, if you can grab them. And then turn off the hydraulics. Turn off all the lights that we turned on. And the packs can go off, the air circulation or recirculation can go off, the fuel boost pumps can be turned off now, they won't turn back on obviously, and generators, I don't think they were ever off to begin with, I think they were on auto. We'll leave DC service because that's going to be the external power supply. And the sim has frozen, look, you can see it's just got stuck. So we'll wait for that to free itself up, There it goes. So there's our aeroplane that we arrived in. Let's go and have a look around this airport then. Okay, so first observation, the figures aren't very high resolution, or they're very, very low resolution actually, but then that does mean the frame rate will be better. So we're going for a wander around, have a look around the various buildings and see what's been modelled. I mean, I don't think this is tremendously important in terms of the wider scheme of the simulator, it's just nice to see what has been modelled and what hasn't. So we're just going out here along the gates to have a look. So this is obviously this is the lower level though. Do they let people out to the air side from the lower level? That's interesting. So if we go through the window, is there an upstairs? Oh, there isn't. That'll be why. So it's just on foot access to the various gates. So we'll make our way back towards the main building. It's quite a long building, isn't it? Is that our aeroplane? Yeah, that's our aeroplane just there. We're just coming back past it. Okay, it's a bit of a wild goose chase we've just been on then. So if we come up, let's go through the passenger side. So looking at this from the point of view of somebody visiting the airfield, there's the car parks. They're quite nicely done, aren't they? And there's the older terminal building, I'm guessing, from many, many years ago. I don't think the internals of it have been modelled, because otherwise the gatewood here would be modelled and it isn't. But it's nice that it's here, and it's nice that they've kind of halfway modelled it. Yeah, you can see it's empty through the windows. It's just an empty shape. Okay. So there's the old hangar from many years ago, Jersey Airlines. And we'll come in now to the modern building and have a look around it. So in common with so many airports these days, yeah, they've put kind of partition walls in between the different parts of the airport. So yeah, you might come in up here then to go through check-in and security. Should we see if we can straighten the camera up a little bit? It always annoys me that you can't, there is no reset button for the drone camera beyond putting it behind the aeroplane. You can't just reset roll, for example. So what sort of resolution are these done at? That's pretty good, actually. So in security. And then cafes and duty-free shops. Go and buy a teapot that you never planned on buying, and a very expensive bag of M&Ms. So I'm presuming, okay, there is more. You just have to go through the wall to get to it. So up here, there's some sort of atrium departure lounge, I guess, for the modern part of the airfield. Interesting. There's nothing modelled below, but there is over here. So this is similar to the other side, isn't it? So you've got the gates, the departure lounges and so on that we already saw. Let's go and have a look over at the control tower then. Yeah, it's not the most high fidelity structure ever. They haven't got radar screens or anything, but we're really nitpicking, aren't we? Because nobody ever sees any of this stuff anyway. But in terms of the layout, anybody who knows Jersey would be able to comment on this. It looks pretty good. Whether it's accurate, I wouldn't know. But it certainly looks quite detailed. So if we go down to the far corners of the airfield and have a look at how it integrates with the rest of the scenery. So they've got fences all the way around. Got the radar here. Which is obviously spinning. I have no idea what this is. Is this a piece of unfinished scenery? So let's go and have a look down the other end. Oh, actually, before we do that, I just want to go and see what this is. Interesting. So there's a VOR. Oh no, it isn't. It's the roof of a petrol station. When you get closer, it makes it obvious what it is. I thought it might be a VOR, but it's not. So there's the approach lighting. Got GA parking over here. It's a mixture of all sorts of stuff here. Look, there's Robins, Cessnas. A couple of Pipers in there. Beechcraft. Anyway, hopefully you've enjoyed this. So a first look at Jersey from newly released from Inibuilds. It's quite reasonably priced, so it's definitely worth a look. And because it isn't ridiculously high definition scenery, it hasn't, it doesn't hit the frame rate that badly, which some of them go completely over the top, don't they? And this one doesn't. It kind of strikes a nice balance. So even with rendering all the aeroplanes in, it's still a manageable frame rate for it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully you've enjoyed that this evening. So we had a first look at the CRJ for the first time in a long time, and a look at the new Inibuilds version, or Inibuilds are marketing it, the Flight X Simulations version of the Jersey scenery. See you again soon. Take care.